Good evening, and welcome to the Crypto Overnighter. I'm Nikodemus, and I will be your host as we take a look at the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. And remember, none of this is financial advice. And it's Tuesday, March 28th, 2023. The Economics and Civil Liberties Committees of the European Parliament have approved anti-money laundering regulations. They had 99 votes in favor, 8 against, and 6 abstentions. The committees have reached an agreement on the text after several rounds of negotiations between policymakers and stakeholders. This vote enables the files to move to the next stage of negotiations where the Parliament, the European Council, and the European Commission will work towards a consensus. The mandate to proceed will be announced during the next plenary in the Parliament on April 17th. However, members will still have the opportunity to contest the decision within 24 hours. The new anti-money laundering rules will have several implications for the crypto industry. DAOs, NFT platforms, and DeFi platforms will be subject to the AML regulations. These rules will apply to platforms if they're controlled by identifiable natural or legal persons, including through smart contracts or voting protocols. Unlike the upcoming Markets in Crypto Assets regulation, the AML legislation covers decentralized platforms as obligated entities, which makes sense given the objective is to eliminate the regulatory gap in the crypto industry. Damien Carême is a Green Party member of Parliament and one of the leading policymakers negotiating the AML package. According to a spokesperson from his office, the new rules will require due diligence checks on all customers. It will also require the reporting of suspicious transactions by certain categories of businesses. These businesses will include DAOs, NFT platforms, and DeFi platforms. These obligations are similar to those currently required of banks, financial institutions, and real estate agents. If this new regulation is passed, credit and financial institutions will have to implement due diligence measures for crypto transactions worth more than €1,000. There will also be enhanced due diligence measures for correspondent relationships with crypto service providers, specifically providers that are outside the EU, as well as payments involving self-hosted wallets. Furthermore, business relationships with unlicensed entities will be prohibited. For commercial crypto payments, there will be a limit of €1,000 for transactions from self-hosted wallets unless the wallet owner has already been doxxed. In a previous version of the text, policymakers set a limit for merchants accepting payments from service providers not licensed under MiCA. However, this was opposed by the industry, and with good reason. It would hinder innovation, and it would not be consistent with the regulatory path already established by the EU. According to Carême's office, this provision limiting crypto transactions above €1,000 is not a complete prohibition, but rather ensures that a limit is implemented for self-hosted wallets where owner identification is difficult. Additionally, there is a requirement for the European Commission to review the commercial payment rule in 3 years. This is to ensure alignment with other regulations, such as the EU's Digital Identity Framework and the proposed Anti-Money Laundering Authority's requirements, and we'll get to that authority in a minute. Now, another effect of the new anti-money laundering regulation prohibits anonymous crypto and bank accounts. Anonymizing tools such as privacy wallets, mixers, and tumblers are also considered high risk, which means the European Commission may decide to ban them in the future. In addition to the AML regulation, the EU has proposed the creation of a new anti-money laundering authority. They would oversee and enforce anti-money laundering regulations across the European Union, and in doing so, they would be reducing the workload for national authorities. This proposal was approved with 102 votes in favor, 11 against, and 2 abstentions in the joint committee vote. If this new anti-money laundering authority is well resourced, it could help the crypto sector navigate Europe's patchwork of national policies. The establishment of an EU-wide AML authority is seen as a potential opportunity for crypto companies to establish best practices as well as sharing their experiences. Isabella Chase is a senior policy advisor at blockchain intelligence firm TRM Labs. She sees the authority as a chance for companies to be in the room with regulators and to collaborate on effective compliance measures. According to Karem, this new legislation is not intended to prevent all crypto transactions, only in cases where identification is not possible. Now, Karem was one of the two lawmakers responsible for negotiating the law on the behalf of the parliament. He also mentioned provisions on money laundering in the metaverse. He expressed his concern that if banking controls prevent dirty money from entering the financial system, it could flow into other sectors instead. If the European Parliament votes in favor of this new legislation, lawmakers will begin negotiating with the EU's Council to create a unified version of the law. Last year, the Council proposed a draft that would prevent banks and crypto providers from dealing with anonymous cryptocurrencies. However, Karem stated that a ban on anonymous cryptocurrencies such as Dash, Monero, and Zcash was unnecessary as they were already prohibited by EU's Markets and Crypto Assets regulation. The UK has decided not to proceed with the proposed NFT for Britain plan that was put forward by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. Sunak had suggested the idea while he was serving as Chancellor of the Exchequer. In April of last year, he requested the Royal Mint create an NFT for the UK to establish the country as a global leader in the cryptocurrency technology. However, the plan has since been put on hold. The NFT for Britain project was scheduled to be launched in the summer of last year. It has missed that deadline and still has not yet been released. On March 27th, the Economic Secretary of the Treasury, Andrew Griffith, was asked by the chair of the Secretary's Select Committee if there was still a plan for the Royal Mint to issue an NFT. Griffith responded that, after consulting with His Majesty's Treasury, the Royal Mint has decided not to proceed with the launch of an NFT at this time. However, the proposal will be reviewed again in the future. Harriet Baldwin is the chair of the Treasury Select Committee, and she asked about the NFT project in Parliament. She was quoted in a BBC report on March 26th as saying that they haven't seen enough evidence to suggest that people should invest their money in these speculative tokens. Baldwin added that this may be the reason why the Royal Mint made the decision not to proceed with the project after consultation with the Treasury. The NFT for Britain idea lacks clarity. There's been no elaboration from the Royal Mint or the Treasury on the purpose and use of the NFTs. Rachel Reeves is a Labour MP and is the Shadow Chancellor. She and other critics of the project have used this as an opportunity to question Sunak's priorities. She expressed her disapproval by saying that the country is experiencing a severe cost of living crisis. And she says this crisis has been made worse by the choices made by the Chancellor. According to her, Sunak's focus on the NFT project was pointless. Turbulent times. Binance and its CEO have been sued by the United States Commodity Future Trading Commission for trading violations. The suit was filed in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Illinois. The CFTC alleges that Binance did not meet its regulatory obligations. They accuse it of failing to register properly with the CFTC. The exchange has been under investigation by the CFTC since 2021. In February, Binance acknowledged that it would probably face regulatory action in the United States and was already working with regulators. Aside from the CFTC, Binance has also been investigated by the Internal Revenue Service and federal prosecutors regarding anti-money laundering regulations. The Securities and Exchange Commission has also looked into whether Binance allowed U.S. traders to access unregistered securities. Binance is the largest cryptocurrency exchange. It trades over $8.5 billion daily. And so it's not surprising to hear that following the announcement of the CFTC lawsuit, the price of Bitcoin dropped from $27,781 to $26,755. That was within the span of an hour and 15 minutes. The lawsuit alleges that Binance traded Bitcoin, Ether, and Litecoin for U.S. customers since at least 2019. This is despite policies blocking or restricting U.S. customers. The suit states that the company and its executives deliberately violated U.S. law. They said that Binance and CZ knew that soliciting U.S. customers required registration and adherence to regulatory requirements under U.S. law. This lawsuit also claims that Binance hid the location of its executive offices and that they also hid the identities and locations of the entities operating the trading platform. An internal memo from CZ revealed that the purpose of this policy was to, quote, keep countries clean of violations of law by not being based anywhere. The CFTC noted that Binance has at least 60 employees in the US, with that number continuing to increase, and they hold US trademarks. Binance also launched its Binance US arm in 2019. The CFTC has made several charges against Binance. These allegations include failing to register with the CFTC, as well as violating provisions of the Commodities Exchange Act and CFTC regulations. Binance is also accused of not implementing anti-money laundering and know your customer controls. Moreover, the defendants did not adequately supervise the company's activities. They allegedly willfully conducted operations outside U.S. borders. This was specifically to evade the U.S. Commodities Exchange Act. The suit also alleges that CZ and others acting on behalf of Binance used Signal's auto-delete feature during business communications. This was even after the CFTC had issued document requests to Binance and after they distributed document preservation notices to Binance personnel. The suits allege that Binance provided leverage to customers trading on the spot market and that they offered futures and perpetuals swaps. The exchange also reportedly traded on its platform through approximately 300 house accounts owned by CZ directly or indirectly. He also reportedly used accounts owned by entities controlled by him. However, Binance did not disclose this activity to its customers. Christopher Perkins is a member of the CFTC Global Markets Advisory Committee. He said, while it's too early to comment on the CFTC's case against Binance, they continue to support principles-based regulation across the crypto industry. The CFTC is pressing 7 counts against Binance. These counts include executing unregistered futures transactions, providing illegal commodities options, failing to register as a futures commission merchant, designated contract market, or swap execution facility, failing to diligently supervise or implement AML/KYC measures, and evading the law. After the CFTC's accusations were made public, Binance saw an increase in withdrawals. As a result, there was a net outflow of $123 million. That was $169 million withdrawn compared to only $46 million in deposits. According to Nansen, Binance owns $63.7 billion worth of crypto. The exchange publicly released a list of wallets to demonstrate transparency into its holdings. However, the lawsuit against Binance alleges that the exchange served U.S. customers and attempted to expand its presence in the region. The lawsuit also accuses Binance executives of changing data referring to U.S. customers to unknown. And the fallout doesn't stop there. The U.S. government asked a judge to stop Voyager from selling its assets to Binance US. Judge Jennifer Reardon agreed to pause the sale. She granted the U.S. Department of Justice request for a stay. Now, this means that the sale is on hold until the appeal of the sale is decided. The appeal needs to work its way through the U.S. court system first. Now, the judge decided to grant the government's emergency motion after considering written submissions, conferences, and oral arguments. The sale had already been approved by another judge, Judge Michael Wiles of the New York Southern Bankruptcy Court. He approved the sale earlier this month despite objections from government agencies. But those objections weren't related to this at all. Now, Judge Wiles believed that the SEC and the U.S. Trustee's Office didn't provide enough evidence to stop the sale. He felt it was his job to move the bankruptcy process along so that Voyager's creditors could be paid back quickly. Judge Wiles also previously rejected an attempt to pause the sale during the appeal process, on that same day that the CFTC sued Binance. And while Binance US is associated with Binance, both companies claim to be independent from each other. On Monday, CZ wrote a blog post in response to the CFTC's lawsuit. He claimed that the lawsuit did not provide all of the facts accurately. Zhao disagreed with the way that many of the issues were described in the complaint. He also expressed surprise and disappointment at the filing of the lawsuit. And what's interesting about this? The lawsuit alleges that Binance provided cryptocurrency trading services, including for Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Tether, and Binance USD, which were referred to as commodities. That's right, commodities, which puts them square in opposition to enforcement actions going on around the SEC, which claims that Ether, for one, is a security. Zhao wrote that Binance's compliance teams consist of 750 people, many of whom have worked in law enforcement and regulatory agencies. He also highlighted that Binance has obtained 16 licenses and registrations worldwide. However, the Commodity Futures Trading Commission has accused Binance of creating a system to conceal the true extent of its operations. CFTC Chief Counsel Gretchen Lowe stated in a press release Binance had willfully evaded U.S. law. She cited internal chats and emails as evidence of Binance's wrongdoing. CZ emphasized Binance's 90-day trading policy in his blog post. He explained that employees are not allowed to sell a coin within 90 days of their most recent purchase. This is done to prevent employees from actively trading. Additionally, Binance prohibits its employees from trading in futures. And while the lawsuit alleges that Zhao owned approximately 300 separate Binance accounts, these are accounts engaged in prop trading on the platform, Zhao clarified that he only has 2 accounts at Binance. One is for his Binance card, and the other is for his cryptocurrency holdings. He stated that he occasionally converts crypto to pay for personal expenses on the card. Sam Bankman-Fried is being charged with 13 counts by U.S. authorities, and this time it's different. The charges include an alleged $40 million bribe to a Chinese government official, and were filed by U.S. Attorney Damian Williams. This new indictment replaces the previous one. Now, this complaint alleges that SBF and others were involved in transferring $40 million worth of cryptocurrency to Chinese government officials. They said that this was done to influence the officials and to unfreeze cryptocurrency accounts held at Alameda Research. These accounts reportedly held more than $1 billion in cryptocurrency. Now, the filing states that Chinese law enforcement authorities froze certain Alameda accounts on 2 major crypto exchanges in early 2021. The FTX founder was aware of the freeze and tried various methods to unfreeze the accounts. This included attempting to transfer cryptocurrency to fraudulent accounts to bypass China's freeze orders. According to the court filing, Sam tried unsuccessfully for months to unfreeze the accounts. He then discussed and agreed to direct a bribe worth millions of dollars to try to unfreeze them. Now, it's currently unclear what cryptocurrency exchanges Alameda was using in early 2021, given that cryptocurrency exchanges were banned from providing services in China since 2017. It's also worth noting that China imposed a blanket ban on crypto in September of 2021. And so, Sam will face trial on October 2nd, 2023. He's facing criminal charges of stealing billions of dollars in FTX customer funds through Alameda Research. He's also accused of making illegal political donations. Sam has pleaded not guilty to 8 criminal counts, which carry a potential sentence of 115 years in prison, that is, if he is convicted. But things might be looking up for Sam. His lawyers have agreed on new bail conditions with U.S. prosecutors. These court documents were filed on Monday, and the proposed conditions are to be approved by District Judge Lewis Kaplan of the Southern District of New York. SBF will receive a new phone with internet access. It would only be for text messages and voice calls. He will also be given a new laptop with limited functionality. Access will be restricted to approved websites only. Sam will continue residing in his parents' home, and his parents have agreed not to allow him to use their devices or to bring any unauthorized devices into the house. These conditions were proposed at the beginning of the month due to suspicions that Sam had attempted to contact witnesses while he was out on bail. In December, Sam was arrested and released on bail for a $250 million bond. His parents co-signed the bond and used their home in Palo Alto, California as part of the collateral. And that's going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank you, my listeners, because when you stop listening, I will stop talking. If you enjoyed tonight's show, then please like, follow, subscribe, leave a rating or a review. And in the meantime, we'll see you tomorrow night.